Speedway Anywhere on Blog Talk Radio /Speedway Anywhere with your crew chief, Q.
It's me. Hey, race fans, come on in, Speedway Anywhere time, where checkered past is a good thing. Speedway Anywhere on YouTube.com. I almost said blogtalkradio.com, but that show has, well, the archives are still out there, but I no longer do that. I'm your host, Q, also known as Quentin. We're now into the playoffs for all three top NASCAR divisions. Indy and ARCA all but put 2023 in the books so far. Add to that, NHRA is still kicking. There's still, matter of fact, NHRA lasts longer than NASCAR does into November. And they got the best women racers, the best looking women in racing. But I digress. But that's not what I'm here to talk about for this one. I've been doing the YouTube thing for a few years. Add to that the podcast on Blog Talk Radio, and the subject is often brought up. And this is the subject that I want to talk about today. Whether or not races are too long. Now, I have my objective, perspective, and subjectives. And that's what I always tell people when they ask me, what's your podcast about? Well, I got my opinion, you got yours, everyone's got, and we could use the old adage about everyone's got an asshole, and how does that go? Opinions are like assholes, and everyone's got one. Okay, let's leave that part alone. But anyways, this is the Speedway Anywhere version of, objectives, perspectives, and subjectives. And I've heard or read on many opinions along the way since I've been doing this. It seems to me many just want the end result of the event. They don't want to see the beginning. They don't want to see the middle. They don't even want to see the end. They just want to see the score. Why? And this brings to mind that are races too long? Are football, basketball, baseball, hockey games too long? Hockey? Hell no. I could watch that all day long. But don't get me wrong, I think the Indy 500 is overblown with the pre-race coverage that starts before the pre-race coverage. And even though some of it is traditional, um, they keep adding to it. Why do we have to show Danica and the obligatory broadcast on top of the Peacock NBC pit box, which was never a part of tradition? But I'm going to say this as someone who has nothing but respect for Danica after she took time out with my daughter at Iowa Speedway in 2012 at the Xfinity race. Or was it nationwide? I don't know. Who gives a rat's ass? It will always be the Busch Series to me, and I'll still call it that. But it's not her fault that NBC and all make for what is already the longest day of auto racing. Add to that F1 at Le Mans, and does anyone care? I mean, I set my TV for NBC for the Indy 500. I set my TV for the Coca-Cola 600. I don't think I've ever watched anything but a tiny highlight of Le Mans in F1. You know, where the starting order is the finishing order. So on to this point. Are races too long? I got so far off track in my notes here. Is my show too long? Is this show too long? You be the judge. I took that much time to actually get back to the point of the title. So, but it's all fun. Tons of fans behind their TVs or iPads, phones say races are too long. Well, when you're not there in person, yeah, it is. But as far as a TV, no. iPods and iPads and phones and listening through your earpad, maybe. But most people have spent all that money on traveling, hotels, rental cars. By the way, multiple children on flights. I've done it. They would disagree. They want to see an event, especially at the tracks that quit serving adult beverages at the second stage break. Now, just like major sporting events everywhere, it seems like all they want to do is stop serving alcohol when the gates open. I got a middle finger to that. I'm not going to show it to you because I'm trying to be semi-professional. But the beverage thing just never ceases to amaze me. Bugs the hell out of me at stadiums, but I'll reference that in a minute or two. Now, I've heard the arguments that races need to be kept to less than 400 miles. Are they too long? I've heard other podcaster, broadcaster buddies argue the point that um, we could shorten some of the races. Now, remember pandemic 2020, where Darlington became the home track of NASCAR, and they shortened it to a 300-mile race. Yeah, it was a great year because my favorite driver, Kevin Harvick, was dominant there, as well as Denny Hamlin. And but I didn't write that into the notes here, so I'm not gonna get too deep into that. Um, but I've heard that 2023 is more entertaining in baseball due to the pitch clock, and most stadiums are allowing beer sales later in the game because of the pitch clock. It's only the eighth inning by the time that timestamp comes into play, whereas it used to be around that long for them to stop selling beer and drinks. Some of those are local ordinances. I could get going on the concert thing too, but I'm not going to. But the games are shorter and they sell beer later. Please hit me up in the comments below and tell me your thoughts, your opinions. And by the way, new subscribers, you're always welcome. It's been a little lame lately as far as gaining subscribers on the Speedway Anywhere channel. Just saying. It's right there below the video, and it only takes a click. I do it for all my podcaster, broadcaster buds. But let's go back to the point before I do my big promo about subscribers. But is 400 miles too long? I say no. Loudon seems to have the formula down with the 300 miler, but that's a 1 mile flat track. It lasts longer. But Phoenix, nearly the same, is the championship finale. And it seems like it's a get it over with race. I mean, sure, you get to see the final results of the championship, and but it's kind of anticlimactic at the end of the season for the championship finale. Homestead, I'm prejudiced for because it was the first actual cup track that I ever attended. My first time to Miami, my first time to the Florida Keys, my first time on an airplane, you know, all that good stuff. But yeah, the restarts at Phoenix, I almost said. Miami and Phoenix are beautiful. Second only to Kansas with the multi-baking. I love cautions at Kansas, by the way. I think the spring race was probably my favorite so far this year. But should races at any 1.5 mile be shortened? Should Major League Baseball be lengthened? Because they should be in let me fix that. There should be a overtime rule where the beer stands reopen when we go into extra innings. I mean, come on. Let's do that. Okay, one drink per inning. Okay, maybe one drink per. I mean, I love the extra inning thing in baseball. And as far as racetracks that shut down beer sales after stage 2, I have another middle finger to stick up to that. So, we won't start about NASCAR green-white checkers and 2 laps where really the results never change. But that's for another show. I'm guilty of leaving short of the finish where I don't have a room for the night, too, by the way. I did that at Kansas. We drove there. We didn't fly. We didn't have hotels for the night of the race. So we decided to take off 20 laps early after Kevin Harvick had to come in for a safety change because tire failures going on. And Logano went on to win, but I wanted to beat the parking lot rush. And so we took off, started heading out, and we got out of the parking lot. And it's a great traffic plan, by the way, at Kansas. I think even if we didn't leave early, we would not have had the parking lot rush that we've had at Iowa, Richmond, Talladega. Homestead wasn't horrible, but it was still a challenge. But Kansas does a great job down there. Back to the meaning. I'm guilty of leaving the track early once. I want to go deep on this, but I think the show's been too long. Remember I was talking about races being too long? Sporting events being too long? Hockey? Hell no. That is non-stop action. So there's no limit on how many drinks you've had listening to the show. Did you cut yourself off after the first 2/3 of the show? Probably not. I didn't. Well, actually I did. I didn't even have one since the start. What's wrong with me? Once again, please hit that subscribe button below to be notified when the next episode is up. Hit the like if you'd like, and comment what you think about the length of the races. And does length matter? I had to say it. This is Speedway Anywhere, and I will be back next time. I hope you will.
Speedway Anywhere on Blog Talk Radio, your source for stock car, any car, or any car, no matter how many wheels.